I'm eating pomegranate seeds right now. This podcast is turning into more of like a food ASMR. Fucking listen to me eat. Podcast. I'm eating pomegranate seeds. Pomegranates are an inherently difficult fruit to eat. Because you gotta before I learned the trick, you gotta pick out like every single ruby all by yourself. But there's a trick to it where you gotta cut it in half, and then cut it in a quarter, and then you gotta bang on it with a spoon on the backside above a bowl, and that makes all the seeds pop out. But when that happens, you get some of the bitter pith in the membrane in there. And I'm eating it just kind of like a bowl of cereal right now. I'm noticing that if I take a big bite with a lot of the sweet stuff and a little bit of the bitter stuff, that the bitter stuff isn't so bad. But if I take a bite that's mostly bitter pith, it's kind of a shitty bite. I want to immediately take another bite, try and get more sweet, juicy rubies into my mouth. I think that serves as a good analogy. Well, obviously, is it an analogy, or is it a simile, metaphor, or is it literal? Metaphors are usually things that aren't literal. It's pretty literal. It becomes an analogy when I compare it to life. Okay, there we go. That's the second part that I was forgetting. When you compare it to life, sometimes those sweeter moments of life make it easier to handle the bitter moments in life. But when it's all bitter all the time, it just gets increasingly more and more difficult to swallow. You don't want to chew on it. You want to move on to the next bite because that bite is just so bitter. And it's kind of what like overthinking is. You're kind of like think. Because you're trying to think about every single possible scenario, or you're thinking about like how would it be to be in future scenarios. Just overthinking. And sometimes overthinking is good if you're trying to be creative and like try and like write a script. Trying to think about all those different kinds of scenarios, that's a good habit to have. But it's when there's too much thinking, there's too much pith. There's those rotten black seeds that I just pulled one out. Is that a rotten black seed, or is it a sprouting seed? Is that a different kind of analogy? Are the pomegranate rubies seeds? Can I grow a pomegranate tree from just one single ruby? If so, that's insane. There's like hundreds of trees right now that I'm just eating because I want to eat a pomegranate. I just eat fucking hundreds, maybe even 1,000 trees. And I'm an efficient herbivore, so I grind the fuck out of those seeds so that my body can get all the nutrients. And this is what overthinking is. I'm overthinking a pomegranate right now. I'm getting a lot of cool stuff to talk about, but ultimately, it's going to devolve into, I don't know what, fucking thinking about Hades and the myth of, was it Persephone, and how the pomegranates are linked to her. And how when pomegranates are sprouting, that is the time of the year that she walks the earth or some shit. Is it Persephone? I'm not gonna Google it. Because that's overthinking. Right now, similar to agitation, I deal with overthinking so much. And I thought maybe I'll just share a couple of tips I have learned for dealing with overthinking, or like too much thinking. Sometimes I think so much that my brain will like literally get hot. And just like agitation, one of the tips, first tip I'm going to give out, take a deep breath. Deep breaths like have a power to reset your brain. Like even that right now, I just immediately forgot the thought that I was thinking about, and I had to take another deep breath and kind of try and center myself on, oh, what was that thought? And here's a third thought to say, okay, that was concluded. I can actually forget about it again. But the thoughts kind of help meter the meter the flow of your brain. If you could, if you're an overthinker and you can somehow connect just like thinking about one thought or one topic to just one breath, my cat took a shit. I gotta handle that. If you can limit the flow of thoughts in your brain to like the amount of breaths that you have, this is only a really good tactic if your mind is racing. Because if you're only coming up with like one thought a minute, then not really that helpful. But if you are coming up with like 30 thoughts a second, if you can try and attach one thought to your breath and then hold on to that thought with each breath, that's why they say things like, when you breathe in, think in, and then when you breathe out, think out, because you're training your brain to think one thing as you're breathing. In, out. So that kind of helps limit the scope of how much overthinking you can do, because you can be like, okay, I'm breathing in, and all I'm thinking about is breathing in. We're breathing in, we're breathing in, we're breathing in. Each time that you say we're breathing in could be the possibility of a new thought of like, hey, look at that squirrel over there. But you refocus your mind back to breathing in, and then when you're breathing out, okay, sometimes too, you hold it. I hold it, and I hold it, and I flex my muscles, and I kind of bring my awareness from my head to my toes. I send my awareness, what's going on in my body, what's happening here. Okay, I do a little self-scan. Okay, self-scan's over, breathe out. What's happening inside of my body thing. Sometimes freaks people out at first, but the more you get used to it, the more you get used to like the operations of your body, the more it can kind of become a grounding point. Because you can be like, well, my toe always feels particularly ticklish in this way, or whatever. I don't know. Tingly, ticklish. My toe on my left foot feels like a toe. And you know what a toe feels like to you because that's your toe. But you don't know what my toe feels like. And I don't know what your toe feels like. So if I just think about what my toe feels like, that can be a grounding sensation. And like, okay, what is the input coming from this? And if you try and move your awareness from the input of your brain, which is producing runaway thoughts, to focusing your awareness onto something like your heartbeat, which is steady and solid, it could maybe help slow down your brain a little bit. And the cool thing about your body is it's sort of like an engine. I think this has been described to me before, and it kind of seeped into my subconscious, and now that I understand it, I'm sharing it. That's a cool thing about thinking too, is you absorb all these thoughts and things happening around you all the time, and then as you go through your life, you're kind of just disseminating all of this information that you've gathered. But breathing in is like the down, or would breathing in be the... Breathing in is more like the power stroke. No. Okay, breathing in is like the downstroke that is like an engine pulling in. It's like an engine breathing. When a downstroke happens, an engine is breathing in because it's pulling in fuel. And then when you hold it, that is combustion. That's you activating the oxygen fuel in your body, and you're fucking diffusing it with carbon dioxide, and that's fucking combustion. And then when you breathe out, that is the power stroke. Is that what that's called, right? And then that's the no, the power stroke is the ignition, and then that shoots the piston down. But then there needs to be another upstroke to push it out to the exhaust, which is created by the suction of the explosion. And then there's another stroke that pumps it down. I think I'm thinking of a two-stroke engine right now. Breathing is kind of like an engine. Your body is kind of like an engine. When you breathe in, you're taking in fuel, and then it exchanges. That's like the combustion. And then when you breathe out, that's the exhaust. And the more you breathe in, the more fuel you take in, the more the combustion has to happen, the more the exchange between carbon dioxide and oxygen has to happen. The faster your heart will pump to keep, moving the blood around so it can diffuse. And the more you breathe in and out and in and out and in and out. But once you realize that connection between breath and heart rate, you can notice sometimes, oh my God, I'm panicking right now. Oh wow, I'm kind of panting while I'm panicking. And then it kind of hurts sometimes and it feels very wrong, but then you can kind of like force yourself to take a deep breath. And then you kind of like hold it, and then you hold it long enough for your breath rate to reset, which can be a couple of seconds. It can be, 30 seconds. It depends on the person. I recommend just 1 or 2 seconds, just to... And then you relax into the breath and breathe it out. And sometimes if your heart is pumping really hard, suddenly dropping your heart rate like that can make you a little bit dizzy. So like maybe try to plateau off where like, oh my God, I'm panting right now. Okay, let's go. Kind of stepped down a little bit. And that still kind of gives you a little bit of like a head rush and a little bit of a, oh, what's happening here? But it also will calm your heart rate down, and you'll start going down a little bit, because the only time that you're taking long, deep, relaxed breaths is when you're asleep, essentially. So that's a great way to kind of snap your brain into like a relaxed mode state, is to take like the longest, deepest breath that you can. And another thing that I try to do is I try to breathe in and out as slowly as I can to try and knock my brain out of like a panic state. And sometimes a panic state can cause a lot of overthinking because your brain's running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But if you can, it's kind of a feat in and of itself. But if you can take a really, really slow, almost silent inhale. Sometimes, depending on how big you are, it might take like 10 seconds. It takes me like a good while to take a full, deep inhale. Sometimes when I'm trying to meter it in. And then you reach the peak of the deep breath. And for some reason, when you do a nice slow one like that, it feels like you can pack more oxygen into your lungs. Like they open up a little bit more. And then you can just slowly depressurize. And what that does is it forces you to focus on your diaphragm and stomach muscles, and once again kind of pop into that body thinking rather than a mind thinking kind of state in your body-mind complex. I don't know if that, yeah, yep. So, overthinking. Another thing is to just accept shit. Radical acceptance. Like right there, I just said, fuck it. Yep, that's what I said. I just, whatever, fuck it. I started saying, I don't know, was going to go on a whole other sideways tangent. Like, no, fuck it. I said what I said. That's radical acceptance. You just accept what you can't fucking fix. It's on recording. It's there. It's done. It's happened. Now, radical acceptance isn't always useful because I can go back and I can stop the recording. I can say it again and I can go, say it with a different inflection and change my cadence and shit. But in the attempt to try and show like the most authentic presentation possible, that's a lot of extra work and smoke and mirrors and a lot of fucking nonsense, and a lot of other shit that I would have to overthink about just to move on to the next fucking thing, which is sometimes after taking a deep breath, you just gotta look at the situation, see what you can do something about, see what you can't do anything about, see what you can take action in, see what is like something that you can't even take action in, and then kind of accept it. So, if you are watching a TV show and the TV show is like graphic and it's making you overthink and really paranoid about like graphic shit happening to you, instead of continually watching the show and trying to like build a tolerance to it or like change myself to enjoy the media, just turn the show off. The show doesn't like need you to watch it, and you don't need to watch the show. And you're not going to change the fact that that's the way that the show makes you feel, because maybe the show was designed to make you feel that way, to kind of numb you to a certain feeling that is inescapable, or what they want to make you think is an inescapable feeling in this world. And some things that you shouldn't numb yourself to. But it's on a show, and the show was entertaining, and it's got great actors that you enjoy watching. Oh, I need to watch this show, so I need to build a tolerance to it. You could just accept that maybe I'm not going to watch this one. Maybe that's not going to be it. Maybe I can't change how I feel about this show. I can't change the show to make them do it differently. That's a moment of radical acceptance, to be like, you know what? This isn't for me, and I need to accept that it's for me, or else I'm going to keep getting anxious and agitated from watching it. And that's me with like, I can't really watch contest shows sometimes. Like if I'm trying to go to bed, I cannot watch a contest show, like Chopped or fucking Great British Baking Show is kind of alright. It walks the line, but I can't really watch any high, quote unquote, high stakes TV. Those are the pomegranate seeds. Fiber starting to condense all the gas in my stomach and push it one way or the other. But I can't watch like high stakes shows falling asleep because the music that they use, the dun dun and the pacing and the tones and like the fighting in the kitchen amongst the teams and the squabbling, it's enough to keep me awake, keep me from going to sleep. It's just unpeaceful enough to prevent me from going to sleep. But now I might be different. I might be different than everybody else. Some people, like, they might put on, I don't know, what's like the most, they might put on like Survivor to fall asleep to. Survivor might be like a comfort show. Survivor's like kind of also walking that line with Great British Bacon Show for me for some reason. Even though it's a more intense show, I think just the premise of it to me is subconsciously so goofy to go to an island and like compete that doesn't really bother. Like, I don't know, maybe there's like so much of a distance that it doesn't really bother me. But like stuff like baking shows, sometimes I can't handle it, man. Sometimes those cooking shows get way too intense that I'm like, I cannot do this right now. My heart starts pumping hard and I'm like, start freaking out. Start making me overthink. I'm like, I want Patricia to win. Fucking hate fucking Maxine. How dare she be such a terrible... Like, I'm fucking creating these judgments over people that I don't know because the editor edited it in a way that makes shit look super fucking cringy, and shit didn't even happen that way. Like, that's the worst part too, is when they edit for fucking drama. And like when you watch an older show, it's so fucking dumb because nowadays we're streaming everything. You're watching the show and they pause for drama for the commercial break, but then there's no more fucking commercial breaks anymore. So you're just pausing, it goes to a black screen and then it comes back. And then you're like, they fucking repeat the last like thing that they just said too, because they expect people to forget over the fucking commercial break. So now we're just watching like media that they're like saying the same shit like fucking 3 and 4 times in an episode because they're used to people having no attention span because of the commercials, but now there's no commercials, so it's just like, fuck, I can't watch this show anymore. And then we have to find new shows that were designed for non-commercial fucking streaming environments. But the commercial break also does, like, a lot of TV shows like worked it into a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the commercial was such an essential part of the TV show that a commercial break was like a structure to build around. But accepting what you can do, what you can and can't do. What the fuck is the phrase? There's a phrase for it. If you know the phrase, comment it down below. Fucking email it in, adamjcapello.info@gmail.org, gmail.com. What you can and can't do, what you can and can't do. You gotta accept what you can and can't do. Stuff about, and then try to not let it bother you. Like if there's like a, I'm waiting on a package right now and it's fucking stuck in customs. I can't do anything about it. It's customs is like closed. It's the weekend. Like I'm a huff and puff and get super mad and be like, I want whoever's job is it the fucking customs and I want to like. Granted, I get a little paranoid. I'm like, did somebody steal it? Because there was some weird fucking scanning shit going on. I got a bunch of weird notifications. I don't know what happened. Maybe, I don't know why they pulled it out. I don't know why they put it in a warehouse. But I can't really call up the warehouse and ask them, hey, can you send me a picture of my package so I know it's still there? Maybe I could, but there's no number to call. I don't know what the number of the warehouse is. I don't even know the address of the warehouse. I don't know which warehouse it is. I just know it's in Philadelphia. So I just have to accept there's nothing I can really do about it. Instead of being like, I need to get this package now. I'm gonna raise hell until I get it. I can't fucking do anything about it. I don't know how to fucking even raise hell. Shit, dude. I just need to accept some things can't do anything about. So, taking a deep breath, radical acceptance, what you can and can't do things about, and changing your mind. I know sometimes it's difficult. if you're like in the middle of like a pissed off thought and like you just keep overthinking about something that pissed you off, like fucking somebody threw a watermelon at you as you were jogging down the hill. And you're fucking mad about that. You just fucking ruined your whole day. Somebody fucking just threw a watermelon at me out of their car window. Fucking, who the fuck, how did you even fucking do that? It was like one of them tiny watermelons, but it was like rotten, so it didn't really fucking hurt too bad, but it exploded on impact and just fucking ruined my outfit. Where was I going? I started thinking about this gross fucking rotten watermelon hitting you. And just, that would ruin your day. Oh, changing your mind. So then you go home with these dirty watermelon stained clothes. And as you change your clothes, you should do the same with your thoughts. Hold on, shit. I said that. Fucked up. And as easily as you can change your clothes, it should be as easy to change your thoughts. So as you're fucking taking off that watermelon covered fucking workout clothes that got splattered on you with the rotten watermelon, wouldn't it be nice if like the thoughts of that happening came off with it? But if you kind of think of thoughts as accessories, as like pieces of clothing, it can kind of help you materialize them in a way where you can kind of, I'm going to put this down for now. Sometimes just like imagining like a piggy bank and the thought that you don't like, materialize it as a fucking coin and put it in the piggy bank. But that's the thing about piggy banks, you got to smash them open eventually and go through what's in there. And usually it's stuff that's valuable, and things that might piss you off could be valuable tokens in the future, good lessons to learn from. So you try your best to just change your mind. Change your mind, and to change your mind, you could also change your environment. I don't know why I keep dropping into Southern lately. My inner voice is fucking Southern. But changing your environment certainly does help change your mind. So if you're in the street and you just had a watermelon thrown at you, maybe fucking leave the street. Go home, take a shower. You're in that nice environment of a shower, nice warm, you're getting clean. You're not really trying to think about it too much. And there's lots of different kinds of tips I could give you for changing your mind. And really, you just kind of gotta throw shit at the wall until something sticks. So, sometimes when I'm having like a shitty, like, I don't want to be in my brain day, I'll slap on maybe a new show I've never seen before. So I'm forced to pay it. Like, I'll spend the effort to find something I'm interested in too, and that will be maybe part of like changing my mind as I start looking at different options of like things to watch, and I'm like, how would that make me feel? And I'll get through like 50 movies before I'm like, okay, this is getting fucking tiring. I need to pick something. My mind kind of changes a little bit more because I'm like, fuck, I just put myself through an agitation, calling it back to next week. I just want it to be done. It kind of adds a new pressure to it that helps you pick something a little bit faster. Maybe you start disregarding all the things that you've seen and all the things that just look uninteresting, and you go for those things that look flashy, and you pick it and you say, that looks interesting and new. And for new stuff, I'm kind of forced to pay attention to it. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. But like, if you have a comfort show, you can kind of like some comfort shows for me, I can know what's going on in the episode just from like a couple seconds of it. And that's kind of when I know at that point I gotta kind of put the show away. I'm like, dude, this show's, I'm getting it like a little bit too memorized. And comfort shows also do help with overthinking though, because you can kind of just put your brain on autopilot. You don't even have to be paying attention to anything like how you would with a new show or TV or movie. You can just kind of put your brain on autopilot. But the new show technique kind of helps a little bit better if you're not used to like zoning out. If your brain is just like running, and you can't stop it very easily by zoning out. A new show helps because it takes that attention somewhere and it puts it onto something. Whereas an old show, you might be like, well, I already know this. And so you start thinking about other shit because you already know what's going to happen in the episode or at the end of the movie. You have space to let your attention wander because you know what's going to happen. But the knowing of what's going to happen, can also be a comfort in some scenarios. Not always, though. Especially when you're overthinking, because sometimes when you're overthinking, comfort can become uncomfortable. Like I have a really comfy hoodie, but every time I put it on and I'm in an uncomfy mood, I don't like the way it feels around my neck. And I'm just like, oh, I gotta take this hoodie off. Even though I love sleeping in that hoodie sometimes, it's very comfortable, it's very warm, I like how it fits, like I like the color of it, it's a very nice hoodie. I just don't like how it feels around my neck sometimes. So I just gotta say, okay, that's the kind of mood I'm in. This comfort item is no longer a comfort item to me right now. Let's go find something else that's comfortable. And I go put on a sweater or something like that. So yeah, definitely changing your environment, changing the things around you, can help you change your mind out of an overthinking kind of mind state. So we have like changing your mind, taking deep breaths. What other tactics do I use to stop overthinking? Well, if you have a pet, you can go hang out with your pet for a little while. That's always fun. And actually taking care of a pet can help if you are like an overthinker throughout the day, because they need to be fed and they need their, to be helped with the bathroom and stuff. So it kind of gives you something else to focus on throughout the day. You could be like, if you're lucky, you can, jump out of it that quickly, where you can be overthinking about something and then your cat wakes up and paws you on the leg. And you're like, oh, I have to get up and feed you now, so I can't think about this stuff anymore. And then you have to put the stuff down and go into, changing your environment once again, doing a new activity. And hopefully that activity of like feeding your cat helps change your mind out of the overthinking mindset. Just stopping. That sounds kind of very obvious. Just stopping, but like right now. I need to just stop. Take a deep breath. Where am I going with this? What was that noise? Stop. Assess the situation. And I guess where I have been being mindful for a long time, it's very easy for me to, if I have a thought train going, I can create silence. I can just stop it. And it's like a muscle. The more you practice it, the more silence you can create. Sometimes it's only like a second of silence that I can create. The more you practice it, the more and more silence you can create. Sometimes that's a great help, because you'll just be in the middle of something and then you feel all these different thoughts coming in, and you gotta just say, stop. And then different thoughts will come in, and you just gotta pick the one that goes the best with your gut. Different ones can pop up and pop down and all around. Those are some of my skills. for handling overthinking. Exercise certainly helps. Exercise is that was a fucking lit bite. That was great. Exercise helps a lot. Because you're actively pulling the resources from your brain that might be using it for thinking, and you're putting the resources into your muscles for whatever it is that you're using to work out. And it can kind of quiet down your brain. But I've also experienced a counter effect where, since I'm producing so much energy within my body and there's so much flow going on, that my brain will enter a different kind of flow state, where things get a lot more clearer and my thoughts get a lot faster. And that's good for like when you're skateboarding and stuff like that, because your thoughts need to be really clear and your reactions need to be really fast. Because like little kids can run out in front of you, fucking people sometimes like to jump in front of you like it's funny. Lots of shit can happen when you're on a skateboard. If you're not quick to react, you end up bumping into somebody and hurting people. And I don't like hurting people. So you have to be very aware and conscientious. And for me, that means that skateboarding is a time to clear my mind. It's a time to kind of practice that. Just stopping of the thoughts and the thinking. And I used to wear headphones and stuff, but lately I've just been going no headphones, and I've been like just listening to everything, just trying to take everything in going on around me. And it's been a really interesting experience because it's like taking me out of my own head a little bit. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this too, because I'm trying to think about doing something, but I'm rethinking the intro so much that I'm overthinking it. I'm not just fucking doing it. And that could kind of lead me into my next thing, is you just gotta go for it sometimes. Stop like overthinking what the next word is that you're gonna say, and just say the word. Because the more you think about that word, the more weight you're gonna put on it. It has to be like the perfect word. And the next word you say is fucking beaver. And you're like, why did you just say beaver? Where the fuck did that even come from? But I just thought of the first thing that I could think of that was random. So I just did it, and I said it, and there you go. You got it. Just gotta fucking go for it, you know? Take off the limiters. My nose feels fucked up right now. But sometimes just going for it is kind of a double-edged sword. Because right now I'm like, just go for it. I just want to fucking flip out. Just be like, oh, I don't even know, dude. I don't even want to just go for it like that. So saying just go for it has its drawbacks and limitations to it. Sometimes you could just be just going for it and you're going for a crack pipe, and it's like, brother, I did not mean that. The way to stop my overthinking is just going for it, and just going for it is crack, so I'm gonna go get that. No, don't do that. Bad. Don't use my words semantically like that. I'm trying to help you to stop overthinking, not get over your crack addiction. Well, if I was trying to help you to stop overthinking and not get over your crack addiction, I would recommend that you just go smoke crack. Because if crack is making you over, it's the it's a tongue twister, that's why. If the lack of crack is making you whack, just go back. And that's where just going for it is fucking like an evil thought almost. Because if you're trying to not do something, if you're trying to abstain, and the thought of abstaining is driving you crazy and you're overthinking, and that's why you're listening to this, to try and stop your overthinking, then just going for it is not the advice that you need. But if you're just trying to like advocate for yourself, if you're just trying to like speak up, if you're just trying to like make friends and things like that, you can't deliberate for too long on what you're going to say, or else you just become the quiet guy who said nothing. Actually, I said that once. I was passing these kids, and they were giving out these stickers for their car wash company that they were trying to run themselves. And they're like, "Do you want a sticker?" And I'll be like, "No, I gotta go catch this honey on a skateboard up there because I want to go flirt with the honey on the skateboard." But I waited too long, and she had already gone to her car or some shit. She disappeared. Couldn't catch up with her. She was too quick. So then I ended up looping back because I said, "Those kids, I'd be back." And they're like, "Did you get the girl's number?" And I was like, "No, I deliberated for too long, and she's gone now. Never wait on your dreams, kids." And then they were like, "What does deliberate mean?" And I was like, "Basically, wait around." There's some old lady there too who was like, "This guy's pretty cool." And I was like, "Damn straight I'm cool, lady." But shush, it's a secret. I'm actually a really cool dude. I just play unhinged so that fucking unhinged people leave me alone. That's the trick. That's the secret too. If you seem unhinged, unhinged people don't want to fuck with you because they're like, "Well, he's already unhinged." My job is unhinged people's jobs are to fucking take other people off the hinges. And if you seem unhinged already, it's not fun to them. It's actually a little bit scary to them because when an unhinged person meets an unhinged person, the more unhinged person will force the less unhinged person back on the hinge. And some people don't want to confront that of being like, "Oh shit, I should stop what I'm doing." So then they don't ever fucking interact with people that seem unhinged because they don't ever want to confront the unhinged stuff that they're doing. But also acting like that makes you seem unhinged. But I don't always act like that, and I do know of a little thing called cordiality and fucking common decency and respect for people. It's just sometimes I casually like to fucking forget that. No, I have learned time and time and time over again that sometimes it is actually necessary to forget manners in the company of the unmannered because they'll just fucking try and break your manners down just like unhinged people, and they'll try to take you off your hinges, try and take you off your manners because they don't live with manners. So why do you live with manners? Does that make me different from you? Are you different from me? Does that make you better? Am I better? Who's better? Nobody's better. It's just I don't like to fucking smear shit where I eat. That's manners. And sometimes smearing shit where you eat is like hitting on the girl at the dispensary. Now I can't go to the dispensary anymore because I just fucking took a shit there and I don't think it fucking played off like how I did, and that's the risk of taking a fucking shit where you eat. And that can lead to a lot of overthinking. So sometimes taking unnecessary risks. Maybe you just gotta stop fucking taking risks, man. Maybe just maybe in the right moment at the right time, all of the everything that you acquired and accumulated throughout your entire life will just fucking go on go mode in the right fucking moment. I've had it sometimes. One time, a chick fell, and I caught her, and I was like, "It looks like you fell for me." Didn't even fucking think about it. It just fucking came out of nowhere, and that's what it would be like when you find not your soulmate, but somebody you can put it in. You know. So, quit overthinking. Just do it. Oh, put the ego away. That's another thing. If you're afraid of like being embarrassed, then everything that you do is embarrassing. But if you're just like, yeah, I'm embarrassing, if you just accept it, that kind of goes back into radical acceptance a little bit too, that you're just a human. Humans do weird shit sometimes. We fuck up, and then we learn, and then, if we're lucky, we keep developing and learning and evolving and growing. But some people get stagnated. So you just gotta kind of keep growing, and to keep growing, you gotta keep watering yourself and giving yourself nutrients and what you need in order to grow. And sometimes that's why I say like overthinking can be good, because what you need to do is to think about some stuff. You need to overthink it and think it over because you're growing and you want to analyze, how you've done so far and how you're going to move forward and how you want to act and stuff like that. But it reaches into a certain point where you're thinking too much. And like I said, your brain just gets hot and you can't compute. And those are the moments that you want to shut it down the most, but it feels like you can't. Um, and the best way to kind of like stop your brain from doing that is to sort of shock it out of it. And you shock your brain out of the overthinking, hot, my thoughts are burning the cords in my brain kind of thoughts by changing your environment, getting up and doing something, taking a deep breath, feeding yourself. Maybe you overthink about how you're going to cook your meal. Maybe that could be a good thing to overthink about. Overthink about recipes that you want to try. Kind of guide your mind rather than trying to shut it down, is what I would say. Guide it towards things that are good to overthink about that would lead to a benefit in your life, like recipe hunting, or learning about your car or cars in general, or learning about science stuff. Lots of different kinds of science out there. Maybe there's some really cool science stuff that you find really particularly interesting that you can overthink about. Kind of just gotta, like I said, guide your brain into something that would be more beneficial to overthink about rather than overthinking about Great British Bake Off, or fucking overthinking about Survivor, or overthinking about fucking Tiffany and Josh on The Bachelor or whatever. Things that don't really provide a benefit. But also, sometimes we get embarrassed. That's the point that I forgot. Was that we get embarrassed about being ourselves, being weird. We don't want to be weird. We don't want to be strange. But everybody is strange. Everybody is weird. Everybody is their own special kind of person. And to prevent yourself from experiencing being yourself is doing yourself a disservice. It's a disjustice towards your own soul to a degree. Because your soul is who you are supposed to be. And if you're using your mind to tell your soul it's wrong, and then trying to change yourself in that way, it's not always good. You end up, so say you collect candles and you just really love candles, but you never want to use your candles because if you burn the candles they'll go away. So then you just keep amassing candles upon candles upon candles upon candles. Your house is full of candles. But it also smells like shit. So you never light the candle to get rid of the smell of shit. You have all these candles that could conceivably get rid of that smell of shit. But you don't want to use the candle because you like having the candles around. See how it's like that's a little counterintuitive. The candle's purpose is to make the home smell better, yet you are collecting a whole bunch of them to go against what their purpose is. You're collecting a whole bunch of them to just sit around there and do nothing when their purpose was to be burned and make your home smell beautiful. And that's exactly what it is. When you have like something you want to experience, like talking to the pretty girl fucking somewhere, but you overthink it, so then you don't talk to the pretty girl. So the next time you see a pretty girl, you're thinking about that first time that you didn't talk to the pretty girl, and you start overthinking it again. Now that's 2, because you didn't talk to either of them. You keep collecting up all of these wants, all of these candles, all of these wants to go do an action, and then you never do the action to the point where you're fucking thinking about it constantly, and maybe you never get a girl because you're I was just gonna say something really fucked up, but I'm like, censorship? Is that still a thing? If you fucking kill yourself because you're an incel and then you never get a girl because you've always were just thinking about getting a girl, and you let the pressure and the fucking ego and the shame of, oh, I didn't talk to that other girl, so this girl, like, I'm not worthy enough to talk to this next girl, when that fucking next girl never even knew about the first girl. First girl doesn't even know about the fucking next girl. They don't know each other. I know it seems like everybody fucking knows each other, so sometimes it can be daunting or something. But no, nobody fucking knows each other. We're all strangers here. Just introduce yourself. That's it. Just go ahead and introduce yourself. But if you never introduce yourself, if you never get past that one time, all it could take is like one time too. The first fucking person you introduce yourself to, it could be that person. But if you're always just too scared of embarrassing yourself, you actively prevent yourself from even meeting that first person that could have fucking answered all of your questions. And then that gets into a secondary kind of part of it, where maybe you do face rejection on that first person. Maybe it was a very bad interaction. Maybe you mumbled all of your words. Maybe you forgot to introduce yourself. Well, at least now you know for the next time, fuck, I should lead with my name. Hi, I'm Adam. That's at least getting the name thing out of the fucking way. You know, there you go. Now you have your guidance for how you're gonna achieve, how you're gonna, I'm gonna say attack. Why the fuck am I got a headache right now. So the fucking words jumble. You have a direction for where you're gonna go for the next one. So the next one you say, hi, I'm Adam. And then you fuck up something else. So then you, for the next one, you come up with the introduction. Hi, I'm Adam. Would you like to see a magic trick? And then you show a magic trick. Or what have you, where have you. Situational comedy is great because you can just fucking make a joke about whatever's happening around you. But if you have too much of an ego, you're too scared about looking weird, you're never going to make that first step that helps you learn how to get to the fourth step or the fifth step or the next step, you know? Just like walking. If you never take a step, you're not going nowhere. That goes back into just doing it. But it's also a continuation. Because sometimes our egos get in the way. And we think this way or that way. That's so terrible. This is so terrible. That's great. I prefer this. I want that. No, it's not supposed to happen this way. Ego gets in the way and fucks it all up. What could be just a genuinely good, nice, wholesome experience. Especially too if like your thought is just like, I just want a girl. By the time you do get a girl, the ego is gonna fuck it up and be like, I just want 6. And then you fuck up the whole relationship. Because you rushed into the fucking you read the last chapter before you even fucking read the book. So now you're like rushed into the relationship. All because you wanted to satisfy your ego desire. And the relationship might not even be with the right person. It might not even, if you're a virgin, it might not even have been the person that you want to lose your virginity to. All because your ego wanted to be satiated and feel the act of procreation or whatever, or, you know, have its animalistic desires met. So sometimes it really just is just putting away the ego and the id, really trying to listen to your inner voice. And your inner voice can be quiet. So that's why maybe a peaceful environment might be able to help. Some people, they don't like peaceful environments, maybe. A loud environment, like the beach, might help. Crashing waves, very loud noises. Other people, they might like to sit in their house in the quiet. Lots of different remedies for overthinking. And this wasn't supposed to be this week's thing. So it's just kind of my before the show bullshit. I'm noticing I can't really fucking talk right now. I feel listened to, which is duh. You're making a podcast. But I mean also feel listened to somewhere, somehow, some way. In a way that I'm uncomfortable about it. Like through my phone or some shit. I feel very awkward, very peering eyes. But that could be overthinking and the ego and the paranoia and the not taking enough deep breaths and not fucking guiding my brain in the right direction. I'm letting all the inside thoughts run wild, rampant, and free. Yeah, I think that I'm not going to get to the crux of the issue on this one. I think that overthinking is a gift and a curse. And it's really only like a superpower that you got to learn how to control a little bit. But if you don't learn how to control it, it can like become a super villain in your life and be like the worst thing ever. Because I just can't stop thinking. Oh, I know what the fuck it is. I feel like I'm being listened to right now feeling. I'm sitting in a new spot. And the new spot is closer to the radiator. So as I speak, the radiator is slightly echoing. And it's bouncing off in a way that is making me like, what's that like thing over there? Who's that over there? Like kind of like weird. Oh wow. I'm also noticing that I sort of feel similarly in the same spot all the time, but also I noticed when I'm sitting in another spot, like laying down towards the window, I feel the same way too. But I wonder if the window has the same echoing effect where it's playing in the back of my ear, maybe making it feel like there's a large space behind me, that there's somebody else echoing everything that I'm saying. I only just noticed that because I coughed. But that is a real life example of overthinking. I just coughed and I heard an echo and I attached it to another overthinking thought that I had a second ago. Now I'm just going to keep fucking building that thought. But figuring out that it might be something in my environment is actually way more positive than like finding a listening device or something, or even just looking for a listening device, tearing apart my apartment looking for a fucking bug. Meanwhile, it was just an audible effect created by the room that I'm sitting in. Tear apart the room because it's the room itself that's doing the thing. And that's also a better option to think of too. Like it's the actual like physical items, and rather than like a person or an energy messing with me. That was one of the things that always bothered me when I was younger. Is that this place is very physical. I'm feeling this bowl right now. This is a physical bowl. I'm picking it up. It's got pomegranate seeds in it. I can pick out a pomegranate seed, burst it, juicy, flavorful. But all of that shit is an electrical impulse. It's not like flavor is just the way that the molecules are shaped and how they touch my tongue. All of it is touch, and touch is only, I don't know, it's like when you touch something, you feel the energy of it, the same way that when you bite into a pomegranate seed, the same way that you feel the flavor of it. Whenever I feel something, I feel just the fucking thing itself. I don't know. That's where it gets into overthinking. I'm like, yo, how does this fucking table feel, man? Oh, man, that table feels so fucking good. And it's like, do I really need to be thinking about how the table feels? Do I really need to be thinking about how, you know, even to a degree, too, like, do I even need to think about, like, the mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell? Is that shit that I actually need to be thinking about every day? And that's a good way to also stop overthinking too, is just like straight up asking yourself, do I really need to be fucking thinking about this? And that goes back into just stopping earlier too, because it's just like, come on, is this really what we want to be using the fucking brain resources for right now? Kind of putting yourself back into reality. And it's just, you gotta do it step by step. Sometimes that first step is taking a deep breath. And sometimes that step is more like going for a jog or a run or some shit. And that's how you do that. And that is the episode on overthinking. So to end the episode, I think I'm going to end it with, ask yourself, do I really need to be thinking about this shit right now? And keep it easy out there, guys. Peace.